Welcome to Shays Spiritual Insights. I'm glad everyone's here, and it's a small, intimate group, and I like that. So, boy, we have the Christmas energies coming in. This time of the year always brings in just such wonderful, beautiful energies, and that's I love that about Christmas time. Christmas is one of my favorite times. In the new year, with the new year energies, they're already beginning to come in. I don't know if people are feeling it. You can just start feeling the new energies showing up. Um, the other thing I've noticed is, as far as the soul group, they're showing me remember we had the different paths. It's fragmented even more, and there's all these different threads of energies of the different, um, the different focuses of the soul group happening, the worldwide as well as the one in the United States, North America, and some of them are darker, a little darker, heavier stuff, probably just like things like the economy, and then others are real bright and times of with the joy of the season. So it's kind of interesting how it just keeps evolving as we go along. So I thought I'd share that. I don't have any particular insights as to what's going on other than things are crystallizing, they're firming up, gelling for the soul group. And it feels like things are beginning to move in stratified directions, that people are kind of getting their footing again in the midst of all the stuff going on in the world. So kind of like there's a certain amount of confusion for the soul group, for certain people in it, and that sort of thing. At the same time, other areas of their lives are getting firmer and firmer. So that's a good thing. Although it sometimes takes a little while for this to show up, for us to become aware of it. Things are firming up, but we're not aware of it for 2 weeks, a month, or something like that. So anyway, that's all I have. And with that, I'd love to go around and just hear what everyone has to say. If they, anything to share, I'd love to hear about what's going on in your life. If you have any questions for me or the group, that'd be great, because everyone here always has such wonderful insights about what they hear, and everyone has their perspective on it, and we can bring a much bigger picture understanding of a situation together than we do just individually. So with that, Pat, do you have anything at all to share?
I do. So
Wonderful.
well, I don't know how wonderful it is, but
Okay.
I have found that both John and I, and talking to our daughter today, she said she too is having strange dreams.
Mm-hmm.
We're all tired, and she said she was too, and can't find words. I was in a conversation today with someone I don't know very well, and it was sort of a midway professional, and I could not find some of the words I was looking for. And then the whole memory thing. And even our daughter, who's only 46, she's experiencing that. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I've talked to other people in range or whatever that are saying the same thing. So if you have anything to add on to that or help us out with that, I know Paula's going to have some stuff to go with that too. So
I think,
please.
go ahead. Continue, please.
No, that's it. Just please, please. You
Yeah,
said you said some.
go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, I said say more.
Well, only thing I say, I've had a lot of dream activity, and I think this, because of all this going on, for those that are spiritually awake, as everyone in this group is, our higher guidance is going to use the vehicles that are available to us to communicate, and dreams are definitely one of them. And other things happen too. I'm seeing a lot of odd synchronicities happening, throughout a day or events. All of a sudden, it's like, wow, that's really odd that this happened at the same time that happened. And those are kinds of things that the universe uses for us to be aware that, hey, things are moving. So yes, dream activity has definitely been up for both Deborah, myself, and my mom, Peggy. And so it does not surprise me at all that you're having that people in general. I'm hearing a lot about dreams. That's one of the things happening. I'm kind of focusing in on the dream part. Anything, any thoughts, Pat?
Thanks. No, I mean, and these are strange dreams that like the last month I was given the understanding to interpret which was real simple. It wasn't that I was doing anything
Mm-hmm.
for one dream that John had, but these dreams are like, for instance, there was this lady. I'm just going to say this because there was a guy that was with this lady who was really tall. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't like a 12-foot tall one, but
Mm-hmm.
at the end of my interaction with them, this lady started, she was out, we were outside, and she started regurgitating, and this dream was very weird anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing I knew, she was up high in a tree, and there was water pouring out of her mouth or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
I turned and said to this guy, we have got to get her into that house. She needs fluids and she needs to be in a bathtub. I mean, the whole dream literally didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm not to think about that one. And one of the things that happens, and I couldn't remember the name of it. I was talking with someone recently about this very thing. It's called diorama. And diorama is when we have all these nonsensical elements in a dream and they make no sense. And sometimes diorama, in my dream dictionary talks about it, the one from the Edgar Cayce Institute, talks about it, that it's a reminder that all is one, that all these things that seem disparate, that all seem, like nonsensical in our life are one. I think this dream actually has some meaning for you. Water represents obviously spirit and speaking in coming from an elevated position. A tree is the tree of life, that sort of thing. I think there's some of that in there as well. And it's usually probably, I think it's talking about you.
okay. Thank you.
And
Well, if you
it's
get
good,
anything more,
it's a good thing actually, but
it,
it's
it is. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But I was trying to remember that the other night, the other day, like a week or two ago, that word diorama. I was like, okay, I got to go look that up again. And that's a lot of times, and I'm seeing a lot of that in people's dreams, especially when there's all this activity happening and we can't make any sense of it. And it's just a reminder that although, the infiniteness of life and all the things that dwell therein, it's hard for us to know all the different things that are happening at once. But just a reminder that when we don't know, just to know that things are flowing in a way that does make sense. We just don't know what the big picture is. So.
Okay, well, I'm glad there might be some good things in there for me, because a lot of what I've been getting when people mention the weirdness is that there's so, like you said earlier, there's my words will be different, but there's so much happening in the collective,
Mm-hmm.
and we are all such a part of the solution. I'm going to say the loving heart, that we are really feeling it and picking up on it. And I try when I go to sleep to make it clear to my help team to to help me in my dreams, so
Yeah.
that I don't go to the wrong places or the places that will get me in trouble. And so for the most part, I think that I am getting that help, but that's an escape mechanism sometimes too, that, maybe I could go higher, but I guess I am, huh?
Yeah, and because we are these composite beings, we are so extensive. There's so many things that happen in the different parts and extended aspects of our being that have to synchronize up for us, that are part of this identity we know as us here, to move up. And so, a lot of these things happen in that way. It seems like it's nonsensical. It seems like I'm not moving as fast as I want, or this seems like perhaps not a positive thing, when in reality it's just talking to you about the complexity. And usually, and dreams can use the ridiculous to do that. The absurd, the and the subconscious is absolutely, it will use visual as well as auditory word combinations that are plays on words to get us to think about things, like up in a tree, but the tree represent. I'm getting that has to do with your extended being up there, and you're speaking spirit from the tree, using that one dream. But I think there's other parts of that too that I'm not picking up on that others here might. Lisa or Jessica, Franny, or Tonya, even Paula. Paula's still adjusting. I think her getting wired in here. So anyway, is there anything else? I would love to hear. Is there other things that you have to share? Not just that before we move on.
No, not really. I think that a lot of us are dealing with physical manifestations
Mhm.
in our body. Oh, and I dreamt about Deborah last night.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember it, but we were doing something. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I woke up knowing I dreamt about Deborah.
Hmm. And and anytime someone shows up in a dream, you know, how do I think about that person? What do they represent in my life? And then it often gives me insights to what aspect of my life it's talking about. So you might, in regard to Deborah, you might want to think about, if, of course, you don't remember a whole lot about it, but just the fact that she was there, um, you know, think about that relationship, what it is, and then that can give you insights into what it is for you, so as well.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I just know we were doing something together
mhm.
and you weren't there. I have dreamt about you guys one or two more other times, and Paula, but okay, I'll get off so someone else can speak. Thank
Oh,
you.
well, thank you. And gosh, I wish we had a little more insights on the one dream, but we'll have to think about it. See
Yeah,
what
thank
comes
you.
in.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Hey, you're welcome. Paula, do you have anything to share, or are you still setting up?
Yep, I'm here.
How are
Um,
you? Have anything to share? Any thoughts?
yeah. So Pat and I had talked this morning, and I'd mentioned to her I had read something and I tried to find it so I could read it and not remember it. But it had to do with not remembering words, when we're having conversations and that kind of stuff. And the crux of the article was that the higher vibrations, the 5D energetics that are coming in,
Mhm.
our body is assimilating them much quicker than our um, speaking part of us is being able to assimilate them. And that's what's going on, where it's assimilating at the 5D level, but our bodies aren't taking it in quick enough that our words are coming through. And that's what some of that loss of words and stuff could be. We wondered if that resonated, if that made sense. And I apologize, my explanation wasn't really very good.
Well, actually, what you're saying, it does make sense, and it's often true that these higher energies come in, and the lower mind, you can call it sometimes referred to as the lesser mind, our conscious mind, has no way of talking about it. I'm thought about the one time, and I think this is very pertinent for this. This is years ago. I was meditating, and it was when I was really actively going higher and higher and higher. Very much that was the purpose. And I had this one interaction up there, and it made so much sense up there. I could really understand it. And then when I got back into, you know how it is, I'm going to bring it back and I'm going to write all about it. And I get back and I can't talk about it. I'm just, it's just, there's nothing to say. And thereafter, the father told me once, and this is the only time he's spoken in this, and I want to call technical terms. And he said to me, these experiences that you have up here, the brain has no I'm paraphrasing now, electrobiochemical way to translate these into thought patterns that we can talk about. So I'm going to say I agree exactly. These things are coming in, we're absorbing them, they're transforming us in ways that we can sense, we can feel, we have an intuitive and energetic awareness of it, you could say, and probably some mental and emotional senses of it, but we don't know the full scope and depth of it. And to the degree that we are experiencing it, it's challenging to talk about it because it goes beyond our brain's ability to encode it in a way that we can talk about it.
Yep. Yep. Very well said.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Yeah. So that's what comes to mind. And after I had that conversation, after the father told me that, from that point on, I quit journaling. I didn't, at that point, I couldn't, I'd come back and I'd say, I went up high, we saw stuff, and I came back down. you know, what are we going to talk about? You know,
Yeah.
it's so beyond anything. And but when we're there, it's glorious. It's just transformative. It's transformational, and just we want to share it with the whole world, but we can't. But we can help others find it, which is what we all do. That's, you know, when you share, and that gives someone else the, you know, the insights to try things that they may not have wanted to try, so, or even thought about trying. So
Oh, wonderful.
thank you.
So
Go ahead,
something
please.
that came through when you were talking was, I would ask that everybody not go into fear
Mhm.
when we lose our words, because our first thought is something medical or age related, and it's nothing to do with that for most occasions. I mean, there's always the odd chance, but it just came to me to really state that please don't let that become a fear object in our lives when our words won't come forward.
Absolutely. Because it's, again, it's beyond our brain's ability to
Yep.
process and to encode it in such a way that we can talk about it, conceptualize it so that we can, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I really have real quick is, as you guys know, I've been back about a month, and it
Mhm.
feels like I'm integrating really nicely.
Wow.
A lot of stuff went on for me that I've not yet really put my finger on. All good. It's all really good stuff. But if you see anything there that just is something I'm not catching on yet that they want me to be aware of, if not, I'm happy to just wait for it to unfold in its own timing.
And that's what they want you to do. It's how
Okay.
you are becoming aware as you need to. It's flowing as it should and unfolding. Things are moving along nicely for you. I just say it that way. And
Yep.
they're pleased with where things are moving. There are some things coming up for you, but all this stuff has to integrate before you can move on to this next thing that's going to be coming in.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to hear from everybody tonight.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow. Okay, well, I'm going to the next person on my screen, which is Lisa. Hello, Lisa. Do you have anything to share and to ask anybody, myself, anybody at all? I'd love to hear what's going on in your world.
Hello everyone. I've been super busy with my shop and doing shows, and that started
Ooh.
settle down now. So now I'm done with the shows, thank goodness. I was sick for about a week,
Ooh.
just to get over that. Just been working a lot. And I can concur with Pat. I've been having some very crazy dreams. I think it might have even been last week. I can't remember. I had some, and actually, you and Deborah were in one of the dreams, Jeff.
Wow.
I've had some where they're super vivid. And with the group that I'm working with, what I was told that what we're kind of going through now is when you reach a certain point, they kind of call this a point of separation, where all those lives are coming into integration.
Yes.
Happens are those lifetimes are going into wisdom. And so you will experience those within the dreams, but because your mind can't, because the mind's only referencing like modern time, like now,
Mm-hmm.
you have all these things coming, but the mind can't really interpret it correctly. If that makes sense.
Yes.
So, like, for example, I had one dream where I was going to be put to death because I had stolen a couple books from the library, which are my records.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What they're talking about, your own personal akasha, all of that starts to come into the total integration. So, and I was going to be put to death by the electric chair, and I kept trying to get a hold of you and Deborah, and I kept telling you, like, okay, well, I won't be able to come back. So it was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was even saying to this guy that, well, I'm kind of triggered because in my lifetime, that's how I died, in this other lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really pretty wild. So I've been having some of that, and so I know a lot is happening. And the other thing I wanted to ask, and maybe some of you guys have experienced it too, I've had some specific things where it almost feels like I'm going in and out of different realities, like completely. So I'll give you an example.
Mhm.
I was getting an address from my friend, and I wrote down exactly what I heard her say. And so when we were waiting for the package to come, the address was completely wrong. The street was wrong, the numbers were wrong. And I said, well, maybe, it was a computer error and I'm looking at my computer. But when I went to look at the piece of paper of what I had written down, what I wrote down, it was completely not what she supposedly had told me.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to figure out how could I have messed up that bad. I switch numbers because I get a little dyslexic and stuff. But to have a completely different street, completely different numbers all together, I'm like, what happened?
Well, actually, what's happened has been happening for a while. I'm going to tie back to what you said earlier. One of the things that has happened in a lot of people that have had sessions, we've talked about it, is that, and as you are correct, as when you get to the certain point, all the different aspects of us, and many of those are in the past lives and future lives and all those other lives, in other realms and other dimensions, we start connecting and actively integrating and connecting with them. And then as time goes on, we integrate more and more and more to where we operate holistically. That's what we're all moving back into, is back to the unified soul. What's happened with you, and they're showing me, boy, you are interdimensionally connected, and you're processing from all these different aspects, and that's why it just got the brain didn't, things just got kind of all jumbled. I'm just going to say it that way. That's what happened. Yeah, and it's nothing to be concerned about, other than I've had this happen too, or if somebody has said whatever word and I'm connecting it to something else because I'm in that moment, I'm kind of multidimensional, and the next thing I know is like, what in the world is that about? Or I tell somebody something and they said, do you realize everything you just said made no sense? It's like, hold on, let me get back, let me unify again. And that's what it looks like happened to you. But I think you were you thought you were focused. I think you thought in the moment you were bringing it through, and part of you was, but you had all these other connections happening too, and that's why it happened. And
Okay.
I'd like to tell you it's not going to happen again, but that's not the case. I think it's going to happen.
No, it's happened a lot,
Yeah,
and it's
it's going to
like
continue. Yeah.
it's been a little freaky because I'm like, how did I make that huge a mistake, and how am I that off? Because yeah.
Yeah, because you're still, boy, you're still making these, you've got connections, and some of these are being enhanced, and and then every time, when we make new connections or the connections get enhanced, as you know, all our bodies have to rebalance. And we're making and if it's happening throughout the day, especially if we're doing things, and especially I will use it like I'm working with numbers and the left brain concepts, oh my, it can really mess up the apple cart, so to speak. So you are definitely going through that, and you're kind of moving into a plateau again, but you're going to have some more coming in, and these next ones are going to be extended even more. So it'll be kind of the same thing, but different phenomena may happen. So I guess you're being aware of that can help mitigate it, but just know that this is a process that's ongoing with you. And I think you already know that. So, no, I was going to say all is well. It's just, that's what happened. But just these things happen when we're processing that way, and the brain doesn't know what to do with it. Sometimes it can handle a lot, but my goodness.
Yeah, it's just been a lot that happening a lot. So
Yeah.
it's not, I haven't really had that before.
Yeah, and it's because a lot of stuff. I'm going to kind of give you the high 10,000 foot level description, so we don't get into detail. You've had a lot of stuff clear, as you know, and some of these lower things that have been with you, baggage and stuff, has gone away, and you've got really good, some clearer grounding points, which has allowed for you to then extend outward this way, and then the whole thing continue. It's a constant connection, old connections being dissolved, new connections being made, and then a constant reintegration. You're just going through a real big spell of major pieces of it happening all at once, in big ways. And and part of your, and through your, how do I say it, with extended connections to your being, to extended aspects of your being, further and further out, being reintegrated. And it kind of goes out in spheres, go out layers and things, conceptually speaking, as it goes out. And when you get big, this isn't very scientific or very descriptive, but clumps of these connections happening, these big, gigantic, big, huge wiring, like 600 pair of wire connections coming in all at once. It can cause these kind of things to reveal themselves, to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish I could say that better, because I'm right now I'm processing what you're doing, and so I'm kind of experiencing some of that very same thing. But that is what's happening. Yeah. So as you know, it's a good thing, and it will, and as it more finely integrates, the beauty of it is that as it continues to happen, you'll be able to better handle even greater expansion that's coming up. That's coming up in let's say the future. It's an ongoing thing, but it's going to keep. And just like everybody, it looks like it comes in. I don't know if I want to call it waves, but it happens for a while. It kind of plateaus. It never completely goes away, perhaps, but then it starts again, and then new things get introduced, and you're going to continue having that as more and more new aspects of your being, as you start actively increasing your connections with them. You're going to be processing those abstract energies and concepts, and they're going to get integrated, and it's going to cause the brain to sometimes not know what to do with itself. So I didn't mean to belabor my answer, but I really wanted to have a more complete answer, because you have all kinds of stuff happening. So.
All right. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome. Anything else before we move on, Lisa? Anything else? Any more shows coming up?
No, I'm looking forward to a break here.
Okay.
I'm still doing Christmas orders. Actually, my teacher Michael passed in October. Yeah, just kind of all of a sudden. And I was on Zoom. They had his celebration last Sunday. And I guess what one of their good friends saw on the dream time was that he was called over because of the situation that's happening over with Israel and that whole thing. And he was called over so that he could assist the kids on both sides of the of what's happening. So I thought that was pretty fascinating.
Yeah, and just helping the most vulnerable.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes, that's wonderful. Well, it's a shame he's passed, but it seems like it was his time, don't you think?
Yeah, it was just kind of a shock. He's died 7 times and come back. And so it was kind of weird for a while, because I kept waiting
for him to be
come back, and just didn't seem like it was real. And so that was pretty interesting. But I definitely could feel his energy during the celebration, and it was just really nice to honor him.
Yeah. And it feels like this really was the time for him to move on, because he has other things to do right now. I think he's moving on to other work. So yeah. But thank you.
Thank you.
Franny, do you have anything to share? Anything to ask? Anything at all? Love to hear it. Are you there, Franny?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can now. Yes.
Can
Yes.
you hear me?
Yes.
I can. Okay, I was going to say I could probably turn my volume up. Um, I was in an accident a couple weeks ago that really kind of shook me up. So I'd like to talk about that and see if you've got any additional kind of insight on um, what that might have been about or continues to be about. Um, I had gone to a therapeutic touch session earlier in the day, and it was the anniversary of my brother's passing. So I was with others, and I had cried, and it felt to get that love and support. But then when I left, I didn't think to put on protection or do anything to shield myself. And I was getting together with a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
I met up with her, and immediately she was in something that was like had the potential for trauma and drama.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked for my opinion, and I said, "Oh, that is a that's not a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea." So she said, "Okay, thank you." And she changed her plan. She was going to pick up a family member that had left drug and alcohol treatment and take them to hot springs with us and leave him on the side of the road. And he was going to find his way to Plains. And it was dark. It was at night. It was 25 degrees out. And I was like, that is not a good idea. So she called him back and said, "No, you need to stay, go to the shelter tonight, get back into treatment." And she said, "Thanks." Then we went on, and I was really tired too, but I also, and when I was in the car with her, I was like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, why am I here? And then I thought, well, if spirit put me here, then maybe I'm here to help. So I'll just call on my resources, and I'll just offer what I can. So I kind of accepted where I was, you might say. We drove down the road, and we ended up, there was a deer on the highway. My friend was pretty, I think, in her mind, distracted with this family member and what was going on with him. There's a deer in the road. I said, "Deer, go slow, 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 slow." She smacked it going 70 and totaled her car. And, we're on the side of the road, and it really shook me. And I think a lot of it was that I was wide open from the therapeutic touch and I didn't have my normal psychological defenses in place. And even while we were waiting for the tow truck, there were a lot of kind of ups and downs, as well as some little angels that showed up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had an insurance person saying, "We can't find you. We can't tell where you are. And we can't call out a tow truck because you're not at a designated location." And we're like, I gave her, we're exactly 8.5 miles from the town of Lakeside,
Mm-hmm.
and we're 1 mile from Rollins gas station or something like that. And she's like, "We can't locate you, so we can't send a tow truck." It's like, oh my gosh. While we were having that conversation, a young man in a tow truck drove by, and he stopped to see what was going on. And he ended up being the one that gave us a ride back to Kalispell, towed my friend's truck, blah, blah, blah. But while we were sitting there was a lot of confusion and chaos, and fire department showed up to direct traffic around the scene. My friend was continuing to talk about other people that are struggling. She told me about a couple men that had prostate cancer. She got the one guy that was further on the journey of healing to connect with the other man that needed somebody to kind of guide him along. She was talking about other people that were struggling. And then she showed me a picture of a woman in a hospital bed that had broken her pelvis.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so depleted. I was like, I put my hands up and I said, I can't take in anything else about something that's negative or illness or sickness or anything. I don't have any more bandwidth. I can't take in anything else.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, so that was good. But I ended up, we got the ride back to Kalispell. My car was at her house. She wanted me to spend the night there. And I was like, no, I need to go home. I really needed to unplug from all of that
Yeah.
trauma and drama. And I felt like there were, and I don't know how to describe this, but I felt like there were at least 30 people in her energy field that she was carrying their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I just knew that I had to get away from it. So I went home, um, slept a long time that night. The next day I was crying all day. I felt super vulnerable, felt like life is so fragile, you know, you can just could end in a minute. And I so that was a Sunday. I pulled myself together for work, but then by Tuesday I was shot. I was sick and I needed to stay home. So I stayed home for a few days. And um, what I can say is that I I have some tough stuff going on at work, and I'm just not like I feel like I need to cry all the time. The stuff at work is hard, but it's not out of the realm of what I normally do and what I normally take in stride. But I'm just really, really I'm really sad, and I still feel really vulnerable. You know, I just feel I don't know, I haven't regained I haven't regained that sense of like when I first got home that next day, I was like, okay, I'm saying no to anything that I don't need to do, I'm not going to do. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to restore my sense of safety, you know? Um, and I went to see friends over Thanksgiving. That was really good. But in any event, I'm still dealing with something related to all of this. It's like the fallout. I don't know if I had whiplash or what, but you know, certainly my brain hasn't been operating correctly either. Um, a couple of days ago, my friend wrote me and said that she had this horrible dream that there was all this ugliness and trauma and
Mm-hmm.
really horrible stuff in her life. And she thought she had gotten rid of it. And so when she woke up, she was really, really upset. She smudged her house. She talked to one of her teachers, and she actually was pretty um thrown off balance by the dream that she had. And I haven't had a chance to talk with her and tell her. I wanted to tell her that I felt like I could feel all this other stuff in her energy field. And I knew for myself that I didn't want to let it in my energy field. Um, so I'll just stop there and I'll ask you for and anybody else too, as I'm talking. I'll ask you for your insights.
Well, as you were talking, they were showing me what was happening. So I'm going to kind of distill this into um, a couple of things. One, we've been in a period for quite some time of all these higher energies coming in, and what and for those who are connecting with those energies, it's raising our frequency, and as it's raising our frequency, it's causing things to come up more, to be released. Sometimes as you know, they're released and we don't even know about it. Sometimes it gets processed through our energy field. So that's a little bit of a backdrop. You were there, and you're right. It was one of those things that happened. It's a confluence of events, or however you say that. You know, connect. But you were there. You didn't have the protection, and part of us does that accidentally on purpose. One of those things. It opened you up. You had I'm going to call it a pocket of stuff that's needed to come up. You're right in that where you were there and you were not protected, that you took on some of that yucky energy. And you were definitely, I agree with you, she has lots of different energy fields. She collects this stuff. She kind of has this I'm going to put it that way. She has a tendency to gravitate to those kinds of energies at a non-conscious and subconscious level because of stuff she's got going on. But anyway, it opened you up to those energies, and it probably is what helped facilitate or precipitate the accident because of the negative energies. It brought those in. But where you're at right now, and I'm giving you the kind of the higher level description of it, is you're processing those outer energies resonate with some of the stuff that you're getting rid of it's just you're getting rid of it. You were opened up. It just happened at the same. Say I would like it. It's not coincidental. It happened because it needed to be gone. You're not protecting yourself. just happened to be a mechanism by through which your lower self, your subconscious, your lower, I'm gonna say, your inner self got rid of it. Had you had the protection there, you'd still have stuff coming up. You may not have been in the accident. I think that was precipitated by, or facilitated, I want to say precipitated, facilitated by attraction of the negative energies and events because of her. But that's what you're doing right now. You've got a pocket of old stuff that you're releasing. You're releasing, and you're, as well as you're still processing it through your energy field. Part of you is holding on to it because of unresolved things. You know how that Johari's windows 3 and 4 stuff going on. Things you don't know that others know, and things that neither of us know except they know about it. And you're processing it out. It will be, you need some time to do this, but it's going to pass. You're making the connections for this to happen. You're letting it go. And you're right, it does make you feel vulnerable, and it does remind you of all the things that are related to those energies. So I'm going to let other people share as well, but that's in a nutshell what I see, what they showed me, what happened. You went there, you hadn't, again, I sometimes I recognize that I didn't do something that I know I'm supposed to do, yet it's the very thing that facilitated this stuff that needed to happen. It could have happened in a higher way, but because I wasn't aware of it, it happened the way it did, and that's what I would share has happened with you. You know, you didn't make yourself protected. But even if you had this stuff, it's time for it to be gone. It's coming up. It's been coming up, and this was the triggering mechanism. Let's call it that. The triggering event mechanism, you know, of being there, not having your stuff, that allowed it to happen the way it did. And it's on its way. It's going to pass. It's not anything you're going to long-term hold on to, but it's going to be with you for a while. I say a couple of weeks. It could be less than that, but now that you're aware of it, it's going to go faster. And it has been going. So yes, and I can sense the energies and emotions that you're having with this, and how it's hitting. It's affecting the vulnerable parts of you, the parts that you're becoming aware of, and as it gets released, you'll have a greater sense of connection and all as well, and you'll have insights about it. But that's what you're going through right now, and it seems to be pretty substantial for you. You know, not I won't say huge, but I'm gonna say substantial, because it just can't, this one whole, like a blob of all these different events that are all of that kind of energetic nature, that resonated with the stuff she was talking about, and being there, and what she talked about facilitated it to come up. So in that, it's a good thing. The fact that the events that happened, that obviously is not something we'd want to do it in a higher way, but that's why it happened. Anyone else have anything? Paula, Pat, Lisa, Tonya, Christine? Anyone have any thoughts? Okay. Paula, do you have anything?
No, all I was really getting was that this is a wonderful time for Franny to really sit with this, not fight the emotions, but allow them to really come through.
Yeah, let
And
go.
take it as an opportunity of grace.
Yeah, to let them go. Yes, that's an interesting way of putting it. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Paula.
Yeah. But that is what's happening. They're being released, and unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because whenever I see stuff coming up in myself, and I know part of me is holding on to it, and it's a part of me that's like that. Why is it holding on? But it is, and it's getting processed out. I know it's not. In time, in a very short time, it'll be gone. But while while we're going through it, it's not fun, and that's where you're at right now. You're processing through it, and it's a bunch of. I want you to know, it's a bunch of different stuff, but of that discordant nature.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I wish I could tell you the quicker way to make it happen, but you're doing it right now. You are processing it out. It is being released and dissolved, and new connections, higher connections are coming in as they're being released. Higher connections are coming in to replace the discordant baggage, if you want it. Well, so
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Just knowing that it has a rhyme and a reason is really helpful because it was so overwhelming.
it is,
You know,
and when it happens to it, because it's part of the all, by definition, our baggage is stuff that we may have some awareness of, but we do not have complete awareness of. It has all these different elements, emotionally, energetically, even spiritually, that can be unsettling and unnerving, emotionally. So, and that's the nature of counseling. You do it all the time. You help people explore these things. It's just, I don't know. I can know it about someone else. I don't know about you, Franny. And when I see it in someone else, it's like, oh yeah, that's real clear. But then when it happens to us, it's, oh my goodness gracious. It's a bit
yeah.
of a different experience. Yeah.
Well, thank you. It's feeling better already. It's feeling like something's coming into.
It is. It's actually accelerating right now. It's being dissipated. I'm going to use the word dissipated, released and
Mm,
dissipated. Yeah.
mm.
But it's going to
So,
be going for a little while long. You're going to have a few layers of it. So bunches of it, however you want to say it.
so Franny, I was gonna tell you, you can create a safe space right now. So all you have to do is intend that you just say, I create a safe space. And
No.
that, and because you're the creator of your reality. So the moment you intend that, the moment you're in a safe space. I saw similar stuff to Jeff. In a way, the accident was the catalyst to kind of bring it out more
Yep.
to be released.
Yes.
But you were in a bunch of stuff, like he said. And
Yeah.
that lady,
Yeah.
was just bringing in so many different energies and beings and things. And so that's why you were so overwhelmed, because you were your stuff was coming up, and then she's got all of this stuff going on. She was very ungrounded.
Yeah.
And a part of it too, a lot of times when we get in these kind of accidents, they kind of kick us out of our body. That allows us to kind of get out of the mind, which then allows us to release these things, because it's unexpected. So it allowed you to do this releasing. But also what I was seeing is the accident would have been a lot worse if you hadn't been there, because you were kind of anchoring
Oh,
the safety of that that whole thing, because she was really out of her body.
I agree. Thank you, Lisa. That's insightful. I'm glad you said it that way. That's her stuff. She's really ungrounded and just dumping on you, Franny. Just dumping on you. I kind of gave you the high level abbreviated version, but I agree with you. That's absolutely what happened. And I think I agree with the accident would have been more severe. Let's just put it that way. With what happened had you not been there. I agree. Yeah.
mhm,
And thank you for
mhm,
the safe space. That's a good idea. Yes, thank you.
mhm. I'm feeling it already. Yeah, thank you, Lisa. I don't know if either of you could answer this. Um, do you think I can have a conversation with her about those different energies or no? And about her attracting, like I forget what you said, Jeff. It was something like she's a magnet for these things. And I see that she is, but then she wonders why, blah, blah, blah. Anyway,
I,
have a
I can answer.
conversation with her, not so much about her stuff, about my experience of being around her when I felt like I could feel all of the stuff.
I can answer it, but I think Lisa can answer it very succinctly. And I already know what she's gonna. Well, go ahead, please, Lisa. Go ahead, because I think you really need. She needs to hear that.
Well, a part of the problem is that lady likes it. She likes all of that energy, and she likes being out of her body. And the problem when you've got a person like that is that when you go to have a conversation with them, who are you going to be talking to? Who's actually going to be hearing it? And you will have all these different energies coming and going, and she probably won't even remember the conversation after you're done. So it's kind of it's real tricky. You know, we call people, we all have the ability, what's called transmediumship, the ability to go in and out of your body or to bring energies in and out. We all have this ability, but some people are very unconscious about it, and they're allowing a lot of stuff to come through them. And so, you know, it can be tricky because you could have a conversation with them, but that may not be the person who actually owns the body that you're talking to. And then they don't even remember the conversation. So there's not a lot you can do. In the moment, you can really have your boundary and say, stop, I can't take in anymore, no more. And, you know, you can be very firm, because you do have to be firm. But to explain what she's doing, she's very too unconscious to really have that conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say she's not ready
Okay.
to have. That was going to be how. Yes, she's not ready to have the conversation. She does not have the awareness to reflect, to process it, and all it's going to do is she won't hear you, and she'll just facilitate more. It's just she's not ready yet. There may come a time when that'll happen, but I don't think it's going to be for quite some time, if at all.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. I
Thank
won't
you,
even go
Lisa.
there.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, thank you. I agree. She does like it. That's in a negative kind of discordant way. This gives her a sense of fulfillment and purpose and other things. And when she's ready to move beyond that, she will. But I honestly, it looks to me right now that's going to be a long, long time. She's not ready to move on yet. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you both.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for listening.
Well, thank you for sharing. It's, you know, these kind of things are good to talk about because it really does bring up so many people are in so many different places. And I'm just going to speak kind of just generically. I see it because I'm, you know, being a cashier, I can see all these people come through my line. I get little glimpses of them. And I just feel like, wow, they share things. And I realize that the words they're using, the things they're sharing have a foundation within them. And it's like, wow, that's just interesting where they're coming from in their life experience. That's why they have these particular perspectives and why they process things the way they do. And I recognize if I'm guided to, I might say something, but the vast majority of the time I find that there's nothing to be said because they're not ready to hear it. And that's what I think that's, you know, that's what it sounds like this lady's at. So anyway, wow. Well, I'm glad that everybody it came out okay. That's, you know, physically that.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. And I've been seeing a lot more, just so you know, in the world. I think there's a lot of energies going on in the world just because of the soul group and the energies that are happening. Change energies do this. I'm seeing a lot more just auto accidents. And that's anecdotal, but I'm seeing a lot more of them, and just ones that make no sense at all. There's somebody on the side of the road. There was no animal. There was no other vehicle. They just, I don't know what happened. They just suddenly they're in the ditch, and for no reason, perfectly dry road or wet road, but nothing that's really that, you know, it's not like it was on ice or anything. I saw one yesterday. So I feel like some of these energies coming in for the soul group, for those who are not spiritually connected and grounded, they can be really affected too. So, all right, I'm going to move on to Jessica. Do you have anything to share? Anything, questions, anything at all for anybody, myself, anything at all?
Yeah, so I actually feel a lot better with what everybody's been saying, and because it kind of resonates with what's been going on, but also it seems like a lot of people are checking out lately.
Mm-hmm.
that's been kind of interesting. And but I last time I was on, we talked about cleaning out heavy metals and lead specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been doing that, and then working with the liver and stuff. And so um I had a test, and they said all the metals were gone, or no metals showed up. So I didn't know if that was a good test, or because then I started to feel better, but now like I have like a whole bunch of stomach stuff going on, and I don't know if it's just the energies going on, or like I need to do more intense cleansing, or I don't know. I'm kind of not sure where I'm going from here.
All right, this isn't my specialty, but I'm going to share with you that it looks like a lot has been done, but you still have some, I'm going to say metals, toxins. This is in your body. And I Lisa, do you have any thoughts on this? I mean, this is not or anyone else, or Pat, either one, because this is not my strong point. This is Deborah's, this is her area of expertise more so than me, but I can tell you, I don't know why the test showed that, but you do still have some. Yeah, Lisa's shaking her head yes. And I'm going to let you talk to it, Lisa, if you wish.
Yeah, I got yes too.
Okay, Pat, please. Thank you. Both. Whoever wants to start.
Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, I don't have any more to say about that. I just tested it when you were talking, Jessica, and it said, yes, you still have metals, some heavy metals in there.
Yep.
Okay.
Lisa, do you have anything to share?
Well, I think I already had this conversation with Jessica, because the test might show that you're probably at maybe a good level, but it takes a while to get the heavy metals out of your body
It does.
completely.
Yes.
It's not a fast process, and especially if you've got it in the brain and stuff like that. You're definitely doing a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
So your progress is good, but you just want to keep going with that, with the heavy metals. Keep doing what you were doing. The stomach stuff is old energies coming up.
Yes. Yes.
And that
Oh,
can happen, that can happen when you do a physical detox. You're also emotionally detoxing, spiritually detoxing. It's not just on the physical level. And sometimes we can forget that. And it might be a physical symptom, but it's also the emotional baggage that's coming up. And you've had issues with the third chakra, the solar plexus stuff there for a long time. So there's more that's really coming out as you're doing the cleansing, which is good.
Yes.
yeah. It just made me remember that whenever I used to go see Michael Tamura, my stomach would start hurting like this. So that's interesting.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I agree. And you have stuff coming up, and it needs to. And
Yeah.
just so you know, this is, it's probably, not probably, it is happening at a pace that allows you to handle it and process it, along with all the other things going on. And that's a common theme for people, our guides and the universe, and just, our own inner being, high self will try to keep it so that things are manageable, because that's what serves our highest good. And that's what's happening with you. So this is going to keep going for a while. And I'm just going to share my perspective, and if Pat or Lisa or anyone else have anything to share, please do. But although it'll seem like, gosh, this is going on, there's a problem here, the reality is that's just indicative of things being released, that you're processing it. As long as you're not holding on to things, and that has a different set of characteristics that go with it. When we start holding on to things, it'll start manifesting in our life discordantly, both in events, people, relationships, and stuff. But it looks like it's processing at a pace that works for you. Let's put it that way.
Okay, that's good.
Lisa or Pat, any thoughts?
No, I think that's good what you said, Jeff, because if it was more coming out, you'd be in a lot of pain. So, and what I was getting was, do what you can to just assist your digestive system, peppermint, whatever to
Yes.
soothe and to support while you're going through this process.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you for mentioning peppermint. I'm just digressing a little bit here. Deborah uses this from time to time. I am just amazed and impressed by the power of peppermint and peppermint energy. I don't know why it's so efficacious, but it is. It can really help when it's the thing. It really is the thing, and I'm just amazed by how well it works. So I just wanted to share that. I don't know why I'm so amazed by it, but I am. So
Yeah, let me throw a product out there that I've been using for about 4 months now. Prior to eating. It's a Nature's Way product called Pepogest, Pepogest. Peppermint oil. They're in little tiny little capsules yeah. And they're real easy to take. And man, does that stuff work, and it's not real expensive.
wow.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So one other thing, like I've been moving forward with like getting out and kind of looking at doing another business, and I move in little spurts and then I get stuck. Is it, do I need to just like push through that? I'm not sure if I'm going way too slow here.
It is slow, and it's slow because of all the things that you're processing through. So my thought is that I'm always a firm believer that we should follow the things that we're guided to do, even if it's challenging. Just so if you're feeling called to do this thing, keep moving toward it, but just understand that part of why some of this stuff's coming up, part of that has to do with clearing the way so that you can do these other things. And it may come to a point where you recognize as time goes on, we start moving in a direction for something, and then we find out that we're supposed to do something, but it's slightly different than we thought. And I don't know if that's going to happen to you or not, but just be ready to let things organically go where they go.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that kind of happens anyway with people. We just naturally, we're going to go into whatever XYZ business, and then we realize, that is the area I want to go into, but I'm going to specialize in this one thing over here and not the thing I thought I was going to do, kind of a thing. I don't know if that's going to happen with you, but I feel like as you move toward it, you're going to have greater clarity.
Okay, cool. I wanted to mention something to Pat about the water in your dream. Always when I dream about water, it's always about emotions and emotions going on in my life. And so I think about you spewing, or the person spewing, like being you, and just releasing a lot of old emotions.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that. You're right. Water is also can be emotion as well.
Yeah.
Especially when it shows up as rivers. Torrent rivers. Yeah.
Well, that sounded like a river coming out of her mouth.
It was a lot of liquid, so I thank you for that insight as well.
Yeah.
And I'm getting, Jessica, that you're just doing terrific. That's what's coming through to me.
Oh, good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're moving on. And yeah, this is wonderful. And thank you, Pat, as well for that Pepto. What's the name of it again?
Pepogest.
Okay.
Gest. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Is there anything else, Jessica, before we move on?
I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And of course, we can meet again next month. And I'm going to be curious what happens as we move into the new year. That's going to be exciting, I think. I'm looking forward to it. All right, Tonya, do you have anything to share, anything to ask myself or anyone else? We'd love to hear what you have to say.
Oh, I agree with everybody else about dreams lately. I know that I've been having really vivid dreams, really colorful dreams, and normally when I wake up, I can hold on to them for a while and write them in my dream journal. But lately it's kind of frustrating where it's like they're disappearing right away, even though I know I'm having super vivid dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of that there, I've just had a lot going on lately, but I don't know, just I know there's been a lot of changes over the last like month, 2 months. There's been a lot of changes lately, but at the same time, I feel like in limbo right now and not really sure what direction to go or just I don't know. Things have been busy lately, so I'm kind of in a weird space anyway, but things just feel like slightly chaotic in a sense.
Yeah, and right now, as you were talking, they were showing me, and I'm going to say, you're letting go of some old clutter. I don't know if you want to call it, you can call it baggage or old stuff, but you're letting go of some old clutter that no longer, it was something that may have served you in the past, but it's clutter now. And that's the reason why you can feel like sometimes we have this happening in our life. It's like we don't know what direction we're going. And part of that has to do with the fact, since we last talked, that has facilitated a whole bunch of stuff because you were ready for it. And that's going to continue for a while. And it's a good thing because as it clears up, then clarity can come in. You know, the fog clears and then it's easier to see, you know, where we're going, where we are, and what we want to do.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
No, I'm just kind of scattered, so we'll keep it
All right.
short tonight.
Well, thank you very much for sharing. Christine, haven't seen you in a while. How are you? And do you have anything to share? Any questions, anything at all? Christine, are you there? Oh, there you are. Wait, your audio's not audioing. I can't hear you. Your audio's not. I don't think, yeah, I think you're unmuted. I don't know what's going on. We're still not hearing you. Is it? I don't know if anyone else is, but I'm not.
No, Christine, what happens sometimes is if you don't, when you come in, if you don't connect your audio, if you're on a computer, then sometimes you come in and it mutes you. So what you can do is like drop out and then try to come back in and see if that
Yeah,
prompts
that might help. Yeah.
because I've had to do that before.
And with the phones, I don't know at all how it works because I know the phones are a different experience as well. Want to give it a try? There it goes. It says Christine is connecting to audio. Got a check mark. Are you there?
Hear me?
Yeah, you're beginning to come through. Yeah. Yeah. So what's happening?
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Okay. Hey. Okay. Is this better?
I think so. Go ahead and keep talking. We'll see how it goes.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're a little bit of breaking up, but I can hear you what you're saying.
Okay. Everybody. Okay. So by listening to what everybody was sharing and stuff like that helped me help bring a little bit of clarity as far as what's going on in my life. I've been experiencing a lot of things come up, and I wrecked my Jeep on the 25th, and nobody got hurt or anything like that, but it's just things have been pushing me in a direction to make certain decisions in my life that I've been putting off. So I progress forward. So yeah, I don't want it to get any heavier than what it is, because I'm like, I don't want to
You're at
go
saturation.
there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a lot of emotions, just a lot of stuff come up for me. So yeah, I feel like
I'm going to kind of paraphrase.
sometimes you have to.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what I got from you, which your inner being was talking to me while you were talking. It looks like you at a very deeper level are, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so please share how you would explain it. But it's like you're ready now. All these things happening. It's you connect at a deeper level to release them. The seeds
Yes.
the seeds of them, so that they are no longer part of of your experience, and you're in the process. And there's several, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them that I can see, and there might be more. But there's 4 that I see areas, and it's like you're ready to just let that. I'm going to call it a seed, the seed of the energies that are causing those things to happen, and part of your consciousness, to release them, and to be replaced by your higher nature. I'm going to call it that.
Okay.
How would you describe it? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I would describe it as like, I mean, what I've been going through, it's been like kind of not necessarily a recurring thing, but things have come up in my life in different ways. Mm-hmm. And it seems like I know that they're there, but following through with that choices and decisions it's been tough.
Yes.
But I know, like, I know better to not let them escalate more. I don't want them to. Like, a lot has happened, and it's enough.
Yes. And
it's enough.
I want you to know.
And it's like me being,
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, it's sometimes being like choosing to, in a sense, step more into myself is a challenge, being in the human body. That's the best I can put it.
Yes. And it seems overwhelming, and it seems like it's for you like, wow, how is this gonna go? But believe it or not, you are in the process at an inner level. That's what I'm seeing. And it's it's the bigger stuff here of letting that go. And in doing so, you're still going to have some of that experience, but it's one of those things that as you allow it, as you choosing to let it go, to not be part of your life, and to let your true nature come through. I'm going to say that it'll naturally fill the spot. It'll organically fill the void if you allow it. And it'll happen. It's going to happen a little bit slower than you want, but it's going to happen more. It needs to happen this way to be, believe it or not, more gentle, even though it may not feel like that's all at all what's happening, because it's really intense right now for you. Really intense.
Yeah.
I know that. I can really sense that. But it has to be, it's long. These are long seated things that you've had as patterns over lifetimes. And as we've talked about before, you are, as with many of us, this is the time for you to let these things go. And it's got to have to happen in a way that allows it to not have your life spiral any more out of control than what you've already experiencing. So that's what's happening. It is traumatic, and it is emotional, and it's kind of, dramatic sometimes emotionally, but that's what you're doing. And try not to bite off any more than you have. Okay. So let what's going go. And the rest will come as it
Yeah.
needs to.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Anything more,
Yeah,
please?
I really don't have anything more to say right now. I mean, not that I can think of. I mean, what keeps on actually just things being gentle in my life. It's I've had things happen gentle, and then it just seems like I'm not necessarily 100% what it is to sometimes things happen the way that they happen, being heavy in the way that they are to move things for me. Like, so I mean, that's all I really have to say. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
And thank you for sharing that, because in doing so, you're actually facilitating the very thing that you're seeking, which is having things become lighter. Does anyone else have anything
Okay.
to share? Anyone have anything to share with Lisa?
Yeah.
I mean, Christine, I'm sorry.
So, Christine, you're going through a huge death process
Yes.
right now. Because these huge parts of you are dying, falling away, and that's why it's also so emotional. There's also a couple aspects that you are integrating that have been real challenging in your life. And that's a part of what's connected to some of those patterns that Jeff is talking about. And so there's kind of a battle because they're not really going real easily into their integration. They're kind of wanting to hold on to the old identities. But
Okay.
the higher party is saying, we're done. We're done with that. So
Yeah.
it's happening. But just to give you a little more awareness of
Okay.
the dynamics that's happening within you, because it's a lot. It's really big, huge death. Identity things are being dissolved. So you can literally feel like you're dying.
Yeah, that makes sense. Or even, yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah. So
Okay.
be gentle with yourself as much as you can. Don't beat up on yourself. Just really do a lot of nurturing. Do whatever you need to do to really take care of you. And maybe not be out as much doing as much stuff just because I can feel the
Yeah.
overwhelm in your whole system, if
Yes.
that makes sense. So this is a
Yeah.
time which is great because this time of year is a time where we're really supposed to be going inward, being more still, quiet. So just kind of follow along with that, and then more will be released as you're doing that. Because when you
Okay.
create that safe space, a big part of integration of especially the aspects of ourselves is that we have to create a safe space for ourselves. And when we create that safe space and we create that security and that stability in our life, then those aspects can come into integration.
Yes.
That makes sense. But if you're in chaos and you're doing things that are creating more chaos, it's only gonna make it worse.
Okay. Thank
So I
you.
hope that's clear and helpful.
It does. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. And boy, thank you. I like it when people talk about it in different ways, because it really does bring different perspectives. But I like what you said, Lisa, and I really resonate with it. Your high self says we're done. Your higher is done. And yeah, don't, as she said, keep away from cat. Don't bite off anymore. Was my words. But yeah, and be kind to Christine. She's a wonderful, beautiful person, and you are. And just be kind and loving to yourself, because you know what? When these things happen, that's what we need. Just be kind to ourselves, and it's sometimes hard. And I would also say, And you know, kind of echoing what Franny had to share earlier. When people start, you know, we get it when we're feeling this way. Sometimes other energies want to come in that reinforce negativity. Just you know, try to be around. Don't let them in. Just be nurturing. I like what Lisa said. So yes, and
Okay.
and this will come to pass. Um, and I don't think I can say anything more than that, other than you're really choosing this is the higher spiritual path, and it's if it were easy, everyone would do it. It's, it's true. It's true. I have a friend of mine, and I think they want me to mention this. He had worked with some people, and they said, "You're always having all this stuff going on in your life. You're always having this." But they, from their point of view, turmoil and this chaos, and this is happening to you over here, and this family thing over there, and like why? And he says, and he basically he recognized that these are all manifestations of stuff that he is working through. He says, I can be on this planet and live 70 years, or however, this was like 30 years ago he said this. He says, and I can do nothing. I can have a happy life and go, you know, go to Bermuda or whatever, or I can work on these things. And that growth is with me forever. It's got all the stuff, all the negative stuff that I'm, you know, work through. It's gone. All the higher stuff comes in, and that's the process you're in. It's hard now, but it really is. It's what they called in the book six book series, Masters of the Far East. This is the work. This is the work they talk about in the Masters of the Far East. You're doing it, and it's happening. And although it may not look like it, it is moving it's moving in of releasing the old patterns that have been with you long-standing and bringing in the patterns that are the true you. So I think that's all. Just repeating myself there, but you really need to know that is what's happening.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, thank you. We talk about so many things when we get together. It's just incredible. And they're the things that may not always be the fun, the real fun things to talk about, but they're the things that really serve our highest good to know and to be aware of, so that we all, because anytime someone shares something like Lisa or Pat or Paula, Franny, Christine, Jessica, Tonya, all of you, when you share things, it's like, wow, I hadn't thought of it that way. And every time I hear something from a new perspective, it's just yet another way of becoming aware of things that we weren't aware of before. So anyway, we've been going for quite a while, so I just think it's probably time to wrap up. Does anyone? I'm just going to ask. Let's go around. Pat, do you have anything to share? Any closing thoughts?
Real quickly, I just want to share that I was just informed to tell everybody that they may not, including myself, always feel this, but there are thousands of guides and everything all around each one of us, and that they love us beyond our humanness to even understand it. But to know that they're there all the time, they will talk to us if we really get quiet enough. And that this group, this particular group, just like our meditation group, etc., we are so powerful, and we are helping not only each other powerfully and quickly every time we're together, but all the collective.
That is true.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Pat. I thank you for saying that, because as you said, we are all instruments and conduits for each other. And every time we talked about it, everybody here, everyone who shared, everything's been sped up. It was going before, but all of a sudden it's already accelerated just by talking about it. So, and each of us being a channel to help the others. So thank you. Lisa, do you have anything?
I just want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you for all the support, and I just really, really appreciate this group, and Jeff, for you to continue to keep doing this. So Thank you so much.
Well, thank you again, everyone. When we come together, it's just such a blessing. I know I'm a broken record on that, but I heartfelt mean that. That's just, there's so many wonderful things that happen because of it, of our coming together. And I agree, it's for the collective. It goes out in waves to help everyone. So, Paula, do you have any last thoughts? Anything at all?
Nope, I'm just have enjoyed the entire evening and thank you everyone for sharing.
No, thank you. Franny, any closing thoughts? Anything at all?
Oh, I'm just so grateful for everybody here. Missing Marcy tonight.
Yeah,
Feel
I
like
know.
maybe she was here in spirit. Jeff, thank you for creating this venue for us to come together. It means a lot.
Well, thank you. You're welcome. Most welcome. Heartfelt gratitude. Christine, any closing thoughts? Anything at all?
Can you guys hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have anything other than thank you guys very much for everybody being here, and yeah, I'm very thankful. So that's it.
Well, thank you for being here, because by choosing to be here, you've allowed all of us to be there for you. So in whatever way we can. So thank you. Jessica, any closing thoughts?
I just want to say thank you, everyone, for sharing. And it's always helpful to hear that other people are kind of going through the same things as I am. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate all of you.
Oh, thank you. And last
And
but
Merry holidays.
yes, same to you. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody. But I want Tonya to have a chance. Any closing thoughts, Tonya?
It's good to see everybody, and yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. And just the New Year energy is, I don't know if I'm feeling them already kind of coming in. I just rejoice that when the New Year energies come in, because it just to such a degree washes away what was there, and we can move into what's awaiting. And what an opportunity for us to just continue our spiritual sojourn. So blessings and light, everyone. Until next month, I will see you. Namaste.
Lots of love.
Bye.
Thank you.